Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. My guest today is Tara Stravinsky. She is the owner, founder of Ties by Tara. How you doing today, Tara?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to have you. How's your day going so far? I know it's still early where you are, so your day is just getting started, I would assume.
Yes, it's going good. It's beautiful out, so things are doing good.
It makes such a difference when it's sunny out and warm, and it just makes you feel good all over, right? It's a great start to the day when it's like that.
I know, and even the birds are chirping, so it's just like a great, just a great start to the day.
Exactly. So, did I read correctly? Ties by Tara was created out of a spark of inspiration from a Halloween costume?
Yes, that's right. I was a naughty schoolgirl for Halloween one year, and I was like having fun, and the costume I wore came with this like beautiful lacy necktie, and I just like fell in love with it. There was just something that existed. It was a strong masculine symbolism, and this mingled with this lacy accent, and I was just inspired by this whole crossover concept. It's so amazing how something so small, like just this small one-time Halloween costume accessory, can inspire me to like create a whole business out of it. So that's where it really started.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Now, when we're talking about ties, you don't mean the traditional tie that men and women wear, right?
Right. Yeah, no, not at all. It's that's why I spell it with a Y instead of an I to kind of differentiate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, the whole concept originated from the design of a necktie. It's really accessories with ties accenting like each piece, or they tie together, or it's a necklace resembling a necktie silhouette. So they're really just creative deviations with more of a feminine angle.
Awesome. So is Ties by Tara strictly an online business, or is it a brick and mortar as well?
Yes, it's an online business. Yep.
Okay.
Sure. Tiesbytara.com. It started out as an online business. I actually remember having to go down to my bank and open up a credit card processing account. This was like before Shopify and Squarespace made it so easy for entrepreneurs today.
Right.
And the reason why I wanted it to be an online business is because I have such a niche product, and I knew that I would only have like a handful of clients like in my zip code in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
So I really wanted to leverage the power of the internet to reach as many people as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing for small businesses with niche products to reach people all across the globe. So it's definitely an online business.
It is. It's pretty cool to be able to have that reach where people in Australia, around the other side of the world, can purchase your product, something you created. The reach is just incredible.
Totally.
Now, how long have you been in business?
So the concept was really born in 2008. I was working here in downtown Denver at a hotel design firm as a product manager.
Okay.
And that's when I just knew the traditional, corporate lifestyle 8 to 5 was just not meant for me. I just hated going to work, and just like I felt like my creativity was just passing me by, and I just knew I needed to make a change. So it's been about 10 years now.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. So has creativity always been part of your life? You've like the arts and creative world?
It has. I actually started out like more in marketing, like more marketing creativity, designing advertisements,
Okay.
Just all about design. So it's something that I've definitely have just enjoyed. In fact, I remember being a little girl, I was in a talent show, and I made these bracelets for all the girls that I was doing the talent show with. So I just knew that there was something about design that I just have loved ever since, being a little girl.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I also read that you're an award-winning business and some celebrities have been known to wear your ties. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, thank you. I did win an award and I got several nominations from AdNet Media. They're based in Los Angeles.
Okay.
They produce the XBiz Awards every year, and I won Boutique Accessory of the Year. So that was really a huge honor. It made me feel that all my hard work had been really recognized. So I've also been able to network and do some celebrity gifting suites to help me connect with celebrities like Christina Milian. In fact, Tasha Rain just did an Instagram Live with some of my products. So
awesome.
it's exciting. It's extremely exciting.
How did you get tied into that world? How did that happen? Get into the celebrity gifting thing, and how did that all come about?
I think it's you meet so many people at trade shows, and there's just like so many opportunities either through email marketing. In fact, I think I got an email from a woman that was doing a celebrity gifting suite, and I was like, this actually looks really awesome, and I would love, to get my products out there. And it was back like, I want to say it was like 2012, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. So I think it was all just kind of word of mouth and just like keeping in touch through email.
That's pretty awesome. Congratulations on the award. And that's a pretty big achievement, accomplishment, having celebrities wear your product that you created and designed. That's got to make you feel incredible.
Yeah, it's something that, it's hard to describe.
Yeah. Where does your inspiration come from for the design of your product and your product ideas?
It comes from like anywhere and at any time, really. So it's kind of hard to like, narrow down just like one thing. But I definitely keep an eye on like fashion, fitness, old movies, 1950s style, even interior design, just to kind of help with the idea generation process. And there's also a quote that I also kind of like to keep in mind when I'm designing, and it's from Karl Lagerfeld, and it's trendy is the last stage before tacky. And I'm like, that is just, something that I just like to remember that quote, because I really aim to create like timeless pieces that people can wear over and over and will stand the test of time.
That's awesome. Now, do you personally handcraft each item that you sell?
I do. Yep. Everything is made here in Denver. Yeah. But there are times when it gets a little bit crazy, and I do have some production assistants that I contract out to help me with the volume.
Okay.
But I definitely inspect everything that ships out, and we even include care cards in each item so everyone understands how to properly care for their tie.
Amazing. I love it. How and what is the market you gear your product towards?
Our target market is definitely females. They're aged 18 to about 35. Social media users, fashion lovers, living within 25 miles of major cities. They love lingerie. They love feeling sexy. So we try to reach them with social media advertisements, email marketing, and recently just affiliate linking. So that's something new for us that's working on reaching them. So,
That's pretty awesome. Now, where would you say the bulk of your client base comes from? Would that be the U.S. or?
Ooh, it is the U.S. currently, but, I actually just this week sent out an order to the U.K. So, it's still all over the place, and but a majority of it is still, I would say, the U.S., Canada, and some in Australia.
Do you find that there's a certain area of the U.S. that goes toward, like, gravitates towards your product more than most areas, or is it just all over?
That's a good question. I actually would say like big cities, like a lot in Miami, New York, and LA. I definitely see a lot more orders from those areas as opposed to like smaller towns.
Okay. Now, what gets you excited and inspired about being an entrepreneur?
My grandfather was an entrepreneur. He had the first flower shop in Washington Park here in Denver. And my mother was also an entrepreneur. She owned a vending machine company. So
Okay.
having that in my family just kind of inspired me to start my own journey. I think it's exciting to be able to define your own day using your own metrics, and to work on your dream and not someone else's.
It's kind of in your blood.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so good. Now, could you tell me about, was there any particular moment in time, or shall we say a light bulb moment for you when you just knew you had to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, for sure. There was one time I was sitting at my desk back when I was working at this hotel design firm that I used to work at. And it was so beautiful outside and work was kind of slow. And I just noticed that there's just something so drab and like so boring and unchallenging at the office that I was working at, that I just had to get out and I had to go for a walk. And I think it was just like that moment when I decided to get up and get out for a minute. I was just like, knew that there was something out there destined for me. And I just knew that I had to make a change and start my own thing.
I love it. Now, what are some of the challenges you faced early on with your business, and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, so early on, I definitely faced at least two challenges. The first, I would say, is honestly clarity. I'd often ask myself, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I crazy? So I think, having the confidence and, having clarity is something that I definitely faced early on. And I just sat down one night and I created a business plan. It was like a super simple one pager, and it helped me, just define my concept and help me make better decisions once I wrote it all down. So I think having clarity from the get-go is something, that you kind of face early on, because you just really want to make sure that you are defining your concept.
Yeah, it's a big step to go out on your own, to leave the security of a full-time job with benefits and all of that, to step into the unknown. And it takes a lot of courage to do it. So, I don't think there's ever a specific or perfect time to do something like that. I think you just got to take a leap of faith and do it, but also having some kind of plan laid out as to how you're going to get things started helps.
Totally. Yes.
If you could go back, what, if anything, would you change about how you did things?
Having a business is seriously such a learning process, and, I still learn new things every week, and I really appreciate, what you have to kind of go through to get where you are today. But, looking back now, I would probably say I would not design so much. I had so many items, like 5 years ago, I remember I went to a trade show and I had over 300 SKUs.
Wow.
So I know, I was like, what am I doing? This is so crazy. So I think I would have made less styles and really had more sales analysis and really focused on the items that we're selling.
So you've scaled back your product line quite a bit then?
Yeah, I think I have, especially the last 2 years. I really I scaled it back, and it's better because there's like a quote, and I forget where I heard it from, but it's sell less to more people, and that's just so true, because you really just need to kind of narrow it down a little bit, because like that was just a lot of styles, because I was like, I can make this in pink, I can make this in gold, I'm such a designer at heart. I was just like going off and going a little bit too crazy with all the designs. So I would definitely have a few good products and really just focus on those.
Do you still do trade shows? Do you find that that's a good market for you to get your name out there?
It's so funny because I was actually supposed to go to a trade show in Vegas in March of this year, and it got canceled due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm honestly a little bit relieved it got canceled, just because I don't know the future of trade shows. I don't know what that's going to look like. I think it's really good to meet people face to face. It really helps with the relationship. But I just don't know, because I know attendance has gone down. You can do so much more on the internet. So I feel like maybe back in the earlier days, trade shows were really a great way for me to meet retailers, but there's so many great marketplaces today. Like there's Fair, and even just emailing them and doing your own social media investigations and lead generation. That, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the future with trade shows. I might go to like one a year, but I used to do 4 a year. So I think,
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely changing.
The same for every year? Would you attend?
No, I did different ones. I did
Okay.
Curve in New York. That was a good one. I used to do the Ultimate Women's Expo. Those were fun. So I try to change it up just to kind of meet different faces. But I did do, it used to be called the International Lingerie Trade Show in Vegas. And now there's another one called Altitude. So I used to do both of those pretty consistently.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see and navigate this new world for trade shows. And I mean, me being a photographer, there's tons of photography trade shows too. So it's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see when we come out the other side of this whole thing, how the whole trade show world shapes up and what it looks like on the other side of this.
Yes, definitely.
What to date would you say is your biggest high or greatest win?
Oh, I think my biggest high was definitely back when I got my first purchase order from this retail chain called Lover's Lane. It was like over $5,000. And I was like, this is
Nice.
so crazy. I was so excited. I was like, I have something here. It's happening.
Yeah.
I just remember I was just like, wow, my concept's coming true.
Was that early on in the business?
Yeah, it was probably about 2 years after I got started. I would just send out samples like blindly, like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just like made like a simple, really like Word doc line sheet, and I just like put some samples in a box with like some pretty pink tissue paper, and I put perfume on it, and I tied it up in a bow, and I was just like, oh, I hope someone loves it, and they did, and that was just, I was like, wow, all my efforts like paying off.
What's that saying? Fake it till you make it.
Yes, definitely fake it till you make it.
So do you have quite a few retail chain customers or?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do, but it's shifting because it's like now they're more online. So
Yeah.
I used to have a lot more brick and mortar where I'd have to worry about how do you display it and training for the sales reps. And, there's just all these additional things you need when you have more brick and mortar stores, which
Mhm.
it's just different because when you have more of an online retailer partnership, it's more about images and content. So
Right.
I still do, but I would definitely say I can see the shift to online a lot more.
You would have to train people on how to set up and display?
Yeah, I
Oh,
actually used
wow.
to have a distributor, and I would go and I'd have to stand in front of a room full of people and tell them about my features and benefits and what makes us different and how to display it and how to sell it. So yeah, it was just a different kind of energy.
Do you enjoy that part of it, or did you enjoy that part of it?
I loved it. I did love getting up there, talking about my products and like, really what I say is spread the celebration of femininity. That's like the whole, kind of thing that I really inspire. That's like my vision. But I did enjoy it. I just love interacting with people. And I just, I really felt that it was just, the in real life concepts, just
Mhm.
kind of seeing people, light up when they see it or, showing them different ways to style it. And, it just is something I did enjoy for sure.
Are lingerie companies a big user of your product, a big seller of your product?
Yeah, lingerie companies. I also have like a couple of stores that, just sell shoes,
Mhm.
hair salons. So yeah, I have a couple of different segments, but definitely lingerie is one of the biggest.
That's so cool. What do you think is your unique skill set or superpower that's helped you become successful?
I would have to say taking risks because you have to take risks in order to be successful. You have to do scary things that push you. I did several trade shows by myself. I wasn't really that scared to invest a lot of money in marketing. So I think you have to understand that element of risk and how it's correlated with being successful. And I think that early on I was like, woo, we're doing it. I'm all in. So I was like, not even worried. I had like no remorse. So I think, just having that, blind faith and just taking risk is something that helped me be more successful.
Okay. Let's go down a not so serious path away from business for a couple minutes. What sound or noise do you absolutely love?
There's a sound that I get on my phone, and it's from Shopify that hosts my website, and it's kind of like a cha-ching, and that's every time I get an order. So I get really excited. I know we're going away from business, but I just love hearing that, because it's just like this reassurance. But more on a non-business side, I would probably, silence. Honestly, I just feel like the power of silence is just so amazing. You can really think and reflect. I really do enjoy, I try to take a couple of minutes every morning and just sit in silence to kind of just clear my mind. So I'd probably honestly have to say that.
It is a beautiful sound. I love it myself. What are you not very good at?
So I'm crazy ADD. So keeping focus is something I'm totally not good at. There are so many things happening, especially in the fashion space, social media. There's you get distracted so easily today. So I think that being focused is something I still need to work on.
Yeah, we're constantly bombarded with sound clips and video and images and quotes, and it can be very overwhelming at times, and just, it's scatterbrain.
Totally.
For sure. What would you say is one of your favorite words?
Feminine. I just love saying it. I love to say it. I love how it rolls off my tongue. I love what it means. It's just a really awesome word.
Well, and your product is geared towards women. So
yeah,
there you go.
There we go.
What would you say is your favorite curse word?
I love this question. I would probably, I'd have to say fuck, because I think that was probably the first curse word I ever said. And I think just saying it, there's just so many ways that it can go, what the fuck, this is all fucking awesome. It's just so versatile, and it's just a good curse word to say, I think.
It is. I would agree. It's a very popular one for sure.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
If I could have one superpower, I would say the power to go into the future. I would just like to have that kind of foresight to see what's coming and what's ahead. Mm-hmm. So if I can just leap forward a couple of years and see what the world's like, and then come back, I think that would be really awesome.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird would you say you are?
I would probably have to say about a 7. And I love this question because it takes me back to a time when I was living downtown. I was in this tiny 1-bedroom condo, and I had gotten rid of most of my furniture to pay for a sewing machine, a cutting table, materials, my photography backdrop to take pictures of models wearing my product, to really kind of help create my workspace for Ties by Tara. And my mom came down and she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, if you were normal, this would be like a home, not like a work studio. So I think from that moment, I was like, maybe I am kind of weird.
Has your family and friends been pretty supportive all the way through, or did they think, "What the hell are you thinking, Tara"?
I would probably say it's a mix. I think my mom's actually really super supportive, just being an entrepreneur herself. She knows that, you kind of just have to go for it. And then there's a couple, friends that are kind of, a little mixed about it. Like, why did you leave that really awesome corporate job you have? And but I think that overall they all appreciate what I'm trying to do. So, I would say that overall they're pretty supportive.
Well, I mean, they must see now that the success of the business and how long you've been in business, they must see the value in what you're doing and not think that you were crazy to leave your full-time corporate job.
yeah, I think it had to take some time for them to understand what I was doing. And I think that today that pretty much everyone's, totally behind me.
Has your mom helped you out and given you a lot of guidance, her being an entrepreneur?
She has, but she has in ways like kind of behind the scenes, like
Mhm.
accounting. Like you don't really think of accounting when you're making ties, like I need
Yeah.
a balance sheet and a ledger and like I need to pay taxes. And there are things that come up in business like more administratively. She's definitely helped me out with that. I just, that I think every entrepreneur kind of sometimes needs guidance, maneuvering the, legislation and regulations,
Mhm.
and, packaging and things like that. So she's definitely been helpful there.
I think especially on the creative side of entrepreneurship, more creative minds would rather not deal with all the administrative bullshit. They just want to create and make art.
Totally.
Find.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is a passion of yours that you rarely share with people, and why not?
I really love classical music. I love it so much. It just like relaxes me. It kind of like puts me into this like elevated mindset.
Mhm.
And I don't really share it that much just because I don't know. It's just something that I don't share, but I do love just listening, to, just some classical music. It's just something that I just really love listening to.
What would you say is the biggest pain point that you've been dealing with in your business these days?
Oh, this is such a good question. I would say it's diversifying revenue. I used to get a bulk of my business from wholesale from brick and mortar stores, and now it's like kind of shifted to being more retail. And on my website, I can definitely see like dynamic movement in where your revenue comes from. So, especially in the wake of this pandemic, you really have to, find creative ways to keep the lights on. So, we just launched an affiliate program with Sharacell. There's, just finding different creative ways, to stay relevant and to create converting content. I think it's a challenge, definitely, for
Mhm.
sure, especially with like, I feel like so much more competition today too. There's such a low barrier to entry to have a business, thanks to, platforms like Shopify and Squarespace, that people can just, open a store. So it's
Yeah.
really, keeping yourself differentiated and having a really strong branding strategy that sets you apart. It's just something that you constantly, have to be mindful of.
Do you find that the pandemic has had much of an effect on your business?
I think definitely on the wholesale side for sure. I've had to
Mhm.
definitely be more sensitive to stores, that are, still closed and, still following those guidance from health
Yeah.
officials. So I think it's definitely shifted. I definitely saw more of an increase on online retail sales and definitely a decrease in wholesale and distribution orders. So yeah, I can definitely see the changing in the movement of the market.
Can you share a situation that's occurred in your life that provides insight as to your character, as to who Tara is?
Yeah. So, I think, yes, there was a time when was this blog article, um, from it was a pretty popular blog and it was written by these fashion editors in New York. And, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this is such an awesome piece of press. And then when I kind of read it a little bit more, they're actually kind of making fun of my line. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, they're like ties, like who would ever spell it that way? And this is like the most, this is such a unique thing. And so it wasn't actually, it was really hard for me to come to terms with that. And so I kind of like, instead of like lashing out at them and being like, what are you guys doing? I'm a small
yeah.
business. I turned that hurt into like, I'm going to make my line so amazing that they're going to eat their words. Like, I'm going to
Ah,
turn
I
this
love
around.
it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just remember like I was like in tears for like 2 days because I was like, I just can't believe that, they would, it just really affected me. So I think that, using that kind of energy and turning it around to make it positive, I really think kind of helped me, I think, define, what is it, that quote, like, life is 90% how you react to it or something like that. But it's something like that. But yeah, so I think that was just a situation where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to turn this around and I need to make this positive.
I love that you're able to flip the script and make it turn it into something positive. That's amazing. It does speak to your character and who you are. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Good for you for being able to do that and not letting it, because a lot of people who would read negative comments about something that they've created or about their business would let that affect them and send them into a downward spiral. So it's amazing. Yes, you had your time where it bothered you, and then you just decided, fuck this, I'm turning this into something. I'm going to kick ass because of this.
Totally. Yeah. It's amazing because if you really look at the negative feedback, you have to really kind of have different vantage points, like looking at it from what they're saying and kind of just, making yourself better from it.
Well, I mean, being an entrepreneur too, you have to have thick skin, and you're going to get negative reviews, but you got to learn to take, if you can, take the positive from those and turn it into something better, as you did.
Yes, Steph.
What would you say is the best advice you've ever received?
Actually from an old boss of mine, and she used to say all the time, if it were easy, everyone would do it. So I feel that going into it, knowing it's going to be hard, knowing you're going to have challenges, knowing that, things are going to get weird and you just have to persevere. I think has really just kind of stayed with me and just resonated with me that you have to persevere through storms. It's just how business is. There's different things that happen all the time and you just have to keep going.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur is not easy by any stretch of the word, the meaning of the word. And I think a lot of people jump in blindly thinking it's going to be easy and, I get to make my own hours and I don't have to work when I don't want to and I'll have all my weekends free. And no, it's quite the opposite. It's like having 2 full-time jobs.
Definitely, yes. It's a lot of work.
But it's so worth it though.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Because it's something you create, you make with your business in particular. It's your product that you're putting out there, something that you made with your own hands, and to see other people that are interested in purchasing and owning something that you created, it's an incredible feeling.
It is. And it's something that no one can give you. It's not a paycheck. It's not a boyfriend. It's nothing. It's something that it's just irreplaceable. It's something that you have to give to yourself.
How would you define the word success? What does that word mean to you?
I would say success is like every order. I think once you get an order, that is like success. Someone trusts me with their money. Someone believes in my concept. So I think that every time I get an order, it's success. So that's how I would define it. I wouldn't say, when I make $1 million, I'm successful, or, when I can drive that Porsche down the street. I don't view it more materialistically. I view it more like people, like, you trust me to, make you this necklace. You trust me, you like my concept, so you're buying from my website or you're buying from a store that I resell through. So I really think that kind of taking that granular look at success is something that I firmly see as success, is when it's one person, one transaction.
So being that you gear your product towards women and this whole women's empowerment movement, what does that word empowerment mean to you?
I think it's rootly tied to confidence, like having, the confidence, the ability, and just believing in yourself and what you can do in this world is so transformative, not only personally, but the people that you touch as well, and also lifting them up to see their potential. So I think there's so many amazing facets of being empowered. So I think that definitely taking that first step into what you think your potential is can be so transformative.
Love it. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I would have to say to my younger self that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can move forward as it is. I used to get into this like perfection paralysis. Like I couldn't move forward. I didn't think it was perfect enough. So I think letting go and just, sometimes moving forward when you feel you're not ready. I would definitely tell myself that, because I can't tell you how many times I would just not send that email because I didn't have the perfect graphic, or I didn't send out that newsletter because I just felt like I didn't have enough content, or stuff like that, where you're just like holding yourself back because you don't think you're ready, or you don't think it's perfect enough. So I would definitely just say, just go with it.
Perfection paralysis. I love that term. I've never heard that before. That's awesome.
Man, I get it all the time.
I love it. Well, Tara, thank you so much for being a guest on the Empowerography podcast today. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you and having you share all about your business and your journey as an entrepreneur. And it's been so great chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, the host of your Empowerography podcast. My guest today was Tara Stravinsky, owner, founder of Ties by Tara. Thanks so much, Tara. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.